The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, is facing legal action after forcing through the anti-protest powers. We're going to have a look at this from The Guardian. Let's go, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article here from The Guardian on Suella Braverman is facing legal action after forcing through anti-protest powers. So Library writes to the Home Secretary saying she acted unlawfully because Parliament have rejected its measures. So obviously new powers have been installed and it's absolutely ridiculous. I'll read through it and I'll give you my thoughts as we go along. But yeah, it's people's right to speak, freedom of speech has been ebbed away, as you guys know, and more powers have now been put into the hands of police forces, which is absolutely ridiculous. But let's read it before we make judgments, shall we? Human rights campaigners have begun legal action against the Home Secretary Suella Braverman after she forced draconian new police powers through Parliament in a move described by the House of Lords as a constitutional outrage. Liberty wrote to Braverman on Wednesday saying that her move to empower police to cultural and restricted protests caused more than minor disruption was unlawful. This week the government used secondary legislation which is subject to less parliamentary scrutiny to grant police the power. An attempt to include it as a late amendment to the recent Public Order Act 2023 failed to pass the Lords in January. Braverman told MPs on Wednesday that the new powers would enable the police to take quicker action against slow-walking protests and those brought chaos to the law by the majority. This is essentially about silencing people from marches. This is about stopping people from being able to speak freely, being able to stand for what they believe in, because normally when you want to get something done, you would write to your MP, petition, get people together. And the last resort normally is to do a protest. But when you've looked at all the other legal routes, protesting is the only way to make change for the better. It's because of protesting, it's because of unions, it's because of these things that we have, some of the privileges that we have today. If we don't stand up for ourselves, then we're just going to get trod all over ourselves. And these powers are being taken away from us at the hands of the Home Secretary and this Conservative government. Our right to speak, our right to be able to stand up for ourselves, and our values are being ebbed away. Democracy is being ebbed away by this, sadly. Braverman told MPs on Wednesday that new powers would enable police to take quicker action against slow-walking protests and those what would brought chaos to law-abiding majority. Slow-walking protests. How is that? Their argument is that it's disruptive. That's the whole point of a protest, is to disrupt, to say we want to be talked to. And the thing is that if there's no protest, then there's no reason to sit around the table with the people either. But in its pre-action letter, the first step is to a judicial review. Liberty said her move violated the constitutional principle of the separation of powers because the measures had already been rejected by Parliament. Katie Waltz, a lawyer for the human rights organisation, said the Home Secretary has sidelined Parliament to sneak in a new legislation via the back door despite not having the power to do so. This has been done deliberately in a way which enables the government to contemplate Parliament, who's voted the same proposals down just a few months ago, is a flash grant breach of a separation of power that exists in our constitution. Yeah, so she's looking at doing legal loopholes to get this gone round, basically bent the rules to get this law done, even though it's been shot down by both Parliament and the Lords. We've launched this legal action to ensure this overreach is checked and that the government is not allowed to put itself above the law to do whatever it wants. It's really important that the government respects the laws and that today's decision is reversed immediately. The Home Office recommended it had received Liberty's letter. A spokesperson said, the right to protest is a fundamental part of our democracy, but we must also protect the law-abiding majority's right to go about their daily lives. That is why we've introduced a new definition of serious disruption to give the police the confidence they need to clear roads quickly. There was voted on both the House of Commons and the House of Lords following proper parliamentary procedure. The regulations are a response to the daily roads protest by climate activists lower the threshold for what constitutes a serious disruption on the public from significant and prolonged to more than minor. One legal expert suggested that the change will give the police total near discretion over which protests to allow and which to curtail. Liberty says the new regulations now give the police almost unlimited powers to stop protests, and especially the Met Police, who are institutionally racist and corrupt, and that's already been proven by findings as well. This is just too much power. The police have way too much power here. It's absolutely outrageous. Braverman said on Monday that the public had lost their patience with Just Stop Oil. Some people have, but I wouldn't say everybody. You can agree to disagree with me on that. The climate activists who staged 156 slow marches in London in the past 6 weeks. The police must be able to stop this happening, and it is our job in government to give them the powers to do so, she told the Commons as it passes measures. But the use of secondary legislation to push through a rejected proposal has prompted accusations that the government is flouting democracy by playing fast and loose with the constitutional law. A cross-party committee of peers recently said it was the first time that the government had tried such a move. Secondary legislation is law created by ministers under powers to give to them by acts of parliament. It is used to fill in details of acts so it can be swiftly adapted to changing circumstances. But increasingly the use of secondary legislation is to fit in so-called skeleton bills that has led to concerns of a shift in power towards the executive. On Tuesday night, peers accused the Home Office of authoritarian and disruptive behaviour as they backed by 177 votes to 141 a so-called regret motion proposed by Labour that criticises the process and urged the withdrawal of the provisions. Veteran Coker, Labour's Home Affairs spokesman in the Lords, said it is absolutely fundamentally constitutional outrage. What has actually taken place? Primary legislation was defeated. So what does the government do? It doesn't bring forward any primary legislation. It tries to sneak through an underhanded way secondary legislation without proper public consultation. That they undermine the working of our parliamentary democracy, and as such it is shocking. A rare fatal motion brought by Jenny Jones of the Green Party that aims to kill off regulations was defeated by 154 to 68. Labour had refused to back it despite calls from Lady Jones and a 64,000 strong petition. Yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous from Labour. I just don't understand it. The crossbench peer David Pennock KC also called the government's move a constitutional outrage. The leading constitutional lawyer, as all we can do is express regret. We are very sorry about this. While I expect regret from the Labour front bench is not prepared to see through the implications of its own view as a constitutional outrage. It is something that we should stand up against and vote against. Yeah, it's I don't think this legal action. I mean, I'd like to have some optimism on it, but I just think the government just has way too much power, and they're using every single loophole that they can to get in what they want. And we have to be able to stand up and speak for ourselves, and it's really important that we do so. It's incredibly frustrating, and this is won't be the last time they use this kind of loopholes to get in new powers and sneaking in stuff. It's very dangerous, and it's wrong on every level. What do you think should be done? What do you guys think the other parties should do? What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will catch you guys. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys very, very soon. Thanks for watching.